Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. So here's the bottom line, is that it was coming off of the Arkansas game. And we just talked about the Arkansas game. We don't need to relitigate it. It wasn't pretty. Troy was up 27-26 at halftime. It was hideous, okay? And listen, I think Arkansas is going to get better, whatever. But what ends up happening, every time Arkansas plays, it's 50% Arkansas fans either liking what they see or not liking what they see and talking about it. And then it's another 50% of Kentucky fans that feel the need to let everybody know how happy they are that the last coach isn't there and he stinks and he's this and he's that and he's whatever. Now, listen, Kentucky fans, we're going to get into this. And I love you guys. You guys have been great to me. I appreciate everything that you do for me and this channel. And I sent producer Matt down to Atlanta to take in the Duke game with you. But at the same time, I will say this. I think some of the, watching of the other program, not my style. But it's not even not my style, because guess what? It doesn't really matter what I think. We're not here to talk about what I think. We're here to talk about what Dick Vitale thinks. That's right. So Dick Vitale, this poor guy, I know he's going through some health issues. I wish him nothing but the best in a speedy recovery, but he is very clearly talking. He's very clearly watching college basketball. And he put out an interesting tweet that certainly got a lot of attention on Thursday morning. Here's what Dick Vitale tweeted. He said, a message to Cats fans that make comparisons after a big win by Coach Mark Pope with Coach Cal Arkansas is ridiculous. Coach Pope himself has applauded the Calipari achievements in his 15 years, and Cal praised the hiring of Mark. For 15 years, Cal gave his best to Kentucky basketball and BBN. Let's see. He did do a little follow-up. Oh, he did do a follow-up, which I'm now just seeing on his timeline. He said, so happy for Coach Pope and Kentucky basketball as the love from BBN is coming full force to the big W over Duke. Word of advice, to love your coach after a super W is awesome, baby, but also love him when they get an L. Genuine fans, this and that. Do want to focus on the first one, though, because Dick Vitale just basically said what I said about Kentucky fans, okay? And listen, be quick. Bottom line, I respect Kentucky fans. You guys have been great to me. I appreciate everything that you've done. But the Calipari stuff's got to stop, man. Listen. Bottom line is, here's why, and I'll just say this, and I said this over the summer, that I don't understand why people have to take a joy in John Calipari having struggles or whatever. First of all, one, he's not your problem anymore. Whether he's right, whether he's wrong, whether he's good, whether he's bad, it doesn't really matter. He's not your problem. So focus on your team. As Dick Vitale said, you got a great young coach. I love Mark Pope. I think he's going to be awesome there. By the way, I've been saying since the roster came together in May, they're better than 23rd in the country. They're better than 8th in the SEC. We had Lamont Butler on the show. We talked about it, okay? But at the same time, one, appreciate your coach, enjoy your coach. Two, forget appreciating Cal, but we'll talk about that in a minute. The thing that I keep coming back to with Kentucky fans should be rooting for Cal. You know why? Because he did you a huge favor. I can't get over this, and I don't understand why I'm the only one that realizes this. You guys, what do they say? Up, what's creek without a paddle? Schitt's Creek, and I'm not talking about the show with Eugene Levy. You were up Schitt's Creek without a paddle because you owed him, and I'm talking about the show, by the way, if there's kids in the car, so I apologize. But I'm saying this because you owed the guy what? You know the number, $35 million, whatever it was, to fire him. And you were in a spot where you had nothing to do and you didn't want this guy after last season. And so Calipari, thank him for the 15 years that he gave you, but thank him for allowing you to go out and spend the money that you did on Mark Pope, spend the money that you did in NIL, because at the end of the day, if Calipari didn't willingly leave Arkansas, then guess what? You would be stuck with the same Calipari that you were desperate to get rid of. So he did you a favor. He left so that you didn't have to pay the buyout, so that you could hire Mark Pope, so that you could pay for all that NIL. And I'm not blaming, Kentucky for spending money on Mark Pope and NIL, but it's the truth. Beyond that, I do think that he did give you 15 great years. He did give you a national championship. And on top of it, he gave you what, 4 Final Fours? And it didn't end well, but that doesn't mean that there weren't great moments. And it doesn't mean, I don't even know. It doesn't mean that there weren't great moments. It doesn't mean, and the other thing too, really quickly, and I think Dick Vitale is right on this. He's been very supportive of this program. Like, that's the other thing that stands out. So I knew there was another point I wanted to get to. Sorry, we've been on for well over an hour live here, so forgive me as I'm tripping over my own words here. But to his credit, remember, this was a guy that has said nothing but nice things, has praised Mark Pope. But here's the other thing. He's nothing but great to his former players, to the former people, to this, to that, to the other thing. Okay? Remember the TBT over the summer? The La Familia team is playing in Philadelphia. He flies on his own dime to watch his former players in TBT in Kentucky uniforms. Like, you could criticize the guy, but come on, man. He's supporting his former players. He's supported Mark Pope. He said all the right things. And it's not your problem anymore. By the way, I think it was kind of, I thought the goodbye message from him was actually genuine as well. He said, it's time for somebody else's voice to lead this program. You got a great coach. I agree with Dick Vitale. I could go on, but I feel like I'm kind of rambling and making the same point over and over. But I would just say this. Kentucky fans, you got a great coach. My personal opinion, it's time to let it go. We don't need the tweets every single time that Arkansas misses a wide open jumper. We know how you feel. We get it. You got a great team. If you want to talk that talk going into February 1st, I totally get it. Just feels kind of weird. Just going to say it from an outside. Feels kind of weird.